learned a lot of things during my chaplaincy training at Stanford, which I've already shared one story with you. But the things that I learned were mostly about myself. I learned, for instance, that I am an achiever on the Enneagram, which is a system of personality typing that combines modern and ancient wisdom. For the Enneagram buffs out there, that's a 3, the achiever. Now, some of you may not be surprised that I scored a 3, but I was, mostly because that's not how I want to see myself. I don't want to be driven by achievement. I want to be driven by love and compassion, truth, justice, and connection, and I am. I genuinely am, but not all the time. Not as often as I'd like to be. So that was humbling in and of itself, to face that part of me that's been conditioned to believe that I have to prove my worth by doing and achieving. A great deal of the inner work that I had to do to become a better chaplain was to acknowledge and accept that part of myself. The doer, the achiever, the one who thinks she has to get it right in order to belong. The realization that this would be a big part of my preparation as a chaplain struck me one day about a month into my internship at the hospital. I had just finished a long day and I got home, walked through the door, and my partner said, "Did you crush it?" And the question stopped me in my tracks and my jaw dropped and I just started to laugh. Did I crush it? It was an absurd question and my partner knew that. As if the job of a chaplain is to crush it, to go in there and whip everybody into shape, to knock the socks off everyone with how awesome we are at fixing and saving. As if everyone would clap when the chaplain arrived to save the day, to crush it. Wow. The job of a chaplain is pretty much exactly the opposite of that. People don't clap when the chaplain arrives. Usually they cry, because often life has already crushed them in some way, which is why they're at the hospital themselves or with their loved ones. And our job as chaplains is simply to be with them in that state of brokenness, whatever that is like for them. It was a turning point for me, that absurd question, did you crush it? Because I realized the part of me that believes that I have to do well in order to be worthwhile was running the show a little too often. And that was getting in my way of being an effective chaplain. And once I realized that, I was able to practice accepting that part of me, the doer, the achiever, so she wasn't the one running the show. I have had to cultivate a lot of humility and self-compassion to admit that I have a crusher inside of me. Yes. It's not my fault. We're all subject to dominant cultural conditioning about needing to be perfect and successful in order to belong. But when we awaken to the truth of this conditioning and acknowledge its impacts, then we have a choice. We get more free when we understand more clearly who composes the committee in our heads, all the many parts of our complicated, beautiful, and broken selves. We don't have to expel any of our parts or hate them. That never works. It usually just makes them stronger. Instead, we can work on accepting the parts of ourselves that cause us trouble and putting them in their proper places so we can call on them only when we need their specific form of advice. So my inner achiever, she's still there, but she's not as loud as she used to be. My other inner committee members clap for her a lot because she often makes mistakes. And she usually gets pretty quiet when the rest of the committee laughs and gives her a little love. Because that's all she really wants anyway, love and acceptance. And when she gets enough of that, she often laughs too because she sees the absurdity. Crushing it? Why would anybody want to do that? Thank you.